Hello everybody and welcome back to Code with Marley. Today we are going to do something different. We are going to start a new series on our HTML. HTML you probably have no idea about, but it is not with Arduino. It has to do with creating websites. And today we are going to create our first website using something called VS Code. Now you might have heard of it, but for Visual Studio Code, but you might have heard of .com. I mean .org. Org. Come on, stop doing that. .org. .net. Well, something that has VS Code in it definitely is a thing. .net, .org, .com, I already tried. It's probably something. But there is another one, which is VS Code what is it? .dev? .dev, was it? Okay, .dev, which gives you this. And I have this little file which I can already delete. Don't save. But it will usually pop up with some other kind of thing. Like, it'll show a little welcome thing. But what we're going to do is we're going to create a new HTML file. So if we go here, File, New File. Press Select Language. Unless, like, somebody pressed that button before. Select the language and we're going to type in HTML. And there we go. Now we go. I'm going to show you the base today on what to do. And it's pretty simple. First of all, there's these little things, which I hear some people call banana brackets, anything you want to call them. It's just a less than sign and then an opening sign. I mean, a greater than sign. So less than opens it up. And there's this little doc type thing. And this is the line that you put here. So you do an opening. I'm going to call it banana bracket. Actually, no. HTML bracket. So we do an opening HTML bracket, which is just a less than sign. Then we are going to do exclamation mark. And in a very big, which means capital, doc type. And we're going to turn that off and write a space and then HTML. Now we can close that bracket. And for some reason, yeah, there we go. Remember that this here is only doc with a C, no CK, just doc type with a C. So that's the first line of code. Now, this here just lets the compiler, which is a thing. Actually, I probably should have explained this in our Arduino course, but I will for now. There's a thing called the compiler, which checks your code. It turns your code into ones and zeros for the computer to understand. So what this here does is it tells the compiler what language we're writing in, because some HTML files will have PHP in it, which is another language, which we don't need to get into yet. But for now, opening bracket, exclamation mark, fully capital doc type, space, HTML, closing bracket. It's a little hard. Even though in VS Code, actually, it can set up the whole thing right away. I don't think it's in VS Code. It's in another editor. But, yeah, for now, we're just going to add that little line. And that does that. And the next line is be given, of course, the opening bracket. And these are here all called tags. So, whenever I say tag, that means this is going to be in a tag. So, tag HTML. And if we do this, we can close it. And as you can see, VS Code automatically adds this other one, which is tag /HTML. So that's what the other one is. This is just a closing tag. And usually this is how you do it. You give in your code here, and this here is just lets it know that this tag has ended. Everything in between these two little tags are, there's an opening tag and a closing tag. So first we have the opening tag, then we write our code inside it, then we have a closing tag. We're going to be doing this a lot. I'm going to call this a full tag. So now we're going to do a full tag of head. Close it, and VS Code does this for me. And by the way, this is going to be inside the HTML full tag. And now, outside of the head, but inside of the HTML, I'm going to write it right over here, if you can see. I'm going to do a tag that says body. And this should always do this. If you're using another editor, then that's okay too. But for now, we have these, which are great. And next, what we're going to do is we're going to start a full tag again. But we're not going to, this here is called a full tag when it has a little space in between it, and you write it like this. But this here is called a closed tag. At least this is what I like to call a closed tag. And we usually write closed tags inside the body, but sometimes we won't. But the first line of code that actually does something, except like telling the compiler where all of this stuff is going to be, is the H1 tag, heading 1, which is quite a big heading. So we're going to do this, and as you can see, it already puts it into this kind of tag. And in between these two little tags, this little area here, this is where we write down what we want it to be. So let's make this a heading that says test. You can make this say whatever you want. So there's the little thing. Make it say whatever you want. And then I'm just going to save this file. Or, let me see. Yeah, okay. So here it's going to be called... No, I'm trying to save this little part. Save. Where's the save option? There's some kind of... Oh, okay. Save all. You want to save? Yes, save. And this will give us this. Now we're going to give in the name, and I'm actually going to put this in, yes, desktop, good enough. Now, I'm going to call this web, actually my web, my underscore web, and remember, .html, never forget to do that. That there tells our computer that this is an HTML file, otherwise you cannot run it. You better not forget that, okay? .html, and that there is lowercase. Save. And now if I open this up, this should give us this. And this will always have something different, I guess. It depends on where you save it. And as you can see, I have this little window that has test. Now, I'm beginning to get out of time. I'm only going to do 10-minute videos on these, sometimes 15. We're just going to stay simple. But why don't we do something to where we do, why don't we do a little bit of making this smaller? Actually, no. As you can see, this here just says myweb.html. Why don't we change that? So to do that, we go into the head full tag, which we already wrote earlier. And in here, we're going to write title. It's a little tag that opens and closes, just letting you know. And in between there, you give in the name that you want up there. So I'm going to give in my web, I'm going to call it my cool web. That way you know that it's not just my web.html. Now, I'm going to save this. No, cancel. Pre-saved, isn't it? I thought it was. My web.html. Save. And replace. Now, as you can see, I come here, and this little text is like this. I'm gonna press the reload button, and okie dokie. Oh, my web2.html. It's okay. I forgot. I need to change this to be -2 because this is a new version. And as you can see, it changed to my cool web. Isn't that great? Okay, well, I think this is enough for today because we learned 2 things that we really want. Because, for example, if I'm doing a little blog, of course I want to do this. And for my little title. And then, of course, nobody wants just the file name. They want all kinds of stuff in the beginning here. Now, see you next time at codewithmarley.com. Don't forget to visit that. Pro version's coming out soon. Happy New Year 2022. Goodbye.